Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. As we all know, Zetian is the only female emperor in Chinese history. A politician from the Tang dynasty to the Zhou period, and the founding monarch of Zhou. She entered the imperial palace at the age of 14 as a talented person for Emperor Taizong of Tang. After Taizong's death, she became a nun at the Guangxu temple. When Emperor Gaozong ascended the throne, Zetian was summoned back to the palace and was granted the title of Jiaoyi. In the 6th year of Yonghui, 655, after the abolish Wang and establish Wu incident, she became empress. In the 1st year of Shangyuan, 674, she was given the title Empress Tian and was referred to as one of the two sages, alongside Gaozong, actively participating in state affairs. After Gaozong's death, she served as regent during the reigns of Emperor Zhongzong and Emperor Ruizong, acting as the de facto ruler. In the 1st year of the Tian Shou era, 690, Zetian proclaimed herself Holy and Divine Emperor, changed the state name to Zhou, established the Zhou dynasty, and made Luoyang its capital. Zetian ruled for over 40 years, making her the only legitimate female emperor in Chinese history. The era she initiated is considered a crucial link between the governance of the Zhenguan period and the flourishing of the Kaiyuan era, which marked the height of the Tang dynasty. Zetian was exceptionally intelligent, well-versed in literature and history, and was known for her poetic talent, authoring works like Cui Gong Ji and Jin Luan Ji. Moreover, the general public's perception of her often revolves around her cunning political maneuvers and the widespread use of harsh officials and cruel punishments during her reign. She married the emperor and his son, and reportedly even killed her own daughter while she was still in swaddling clothes. However, these stories largely come from popular folklore and public discussions. Most historical records describe her as follows: she was adept at strategy, understood statecraft, was skilled at appointing people, and established the palace examination system, military examinations, and the examination of officials. During her rule, she rewarded farmers and craftsmen, encouraged advice, practiced judicious rewards and punishments, and emphasized talent selection. However, she also employed harsh officials extensively, leading to brutal purges of the Li clan. Thus, it is evident that Zetian was a natural politician. However, in her later years, her extravagant and autocratic behavior led to administrative decline. The famous minister Renjie once advised her to be temperate. But Zetian showed him only two things, leaving the usually upright Renjie speechless and ending his counsel. Does anyone know what Zetian showed Renjie? Additionally, historical records indicate that Zetian exhibited courage and insight comparable to male politicians. In recalling her experiences of taming horses during her time as Wu Kairen, she described the scene of Emperor Taizong attempting to tame a famous horse named Lion. When Taizong asked, "Who can tame this horse?" Zetian confidently stepped forward, suggesting 3 tools, a steel whip, an iron hammer, and a dagger. She stated that if the horse did not obey, she would whip it; if it still refused, she would hit it with the hammer, and if it remained defiant, she would end its life with the dagger. Therefore, Zetian's life was filled with dramatic turns. During Li Shimin's reign, as Wu Kairen, she was not favored, and after Li Shimin's death, she was forced to become a nun. However, Zetian did not lose heart. Instead, she expressed her deep feelings for Li Ji through poetry. "Seeing red turn to green makes me think of you, withered and weak from longing. Do not think that I weep often, just open the box to examine my pomegranate skirt." With Li Ji's support, despite opposition in the court, Zetian successfully returned to the palace, showcasing her indomitable spirit. Within the palace, through clever strategies, she ultimately became Empress Wu, took control of the harem, and gradually involved herself in state affairs, ruling alongside Emperor Li Ji, creating the situation of two sages in power. However, she was not satisfied with this. With her political acumen, she deposed the emperor and established a new one. After a series of power maneuvers, she finally ascended the throne herself, becoming the only female emperor in history, leaving behind her name as an imperial figure for the ages. The allure of power is strong. After Wu Zetian ascended the throne, to solidify her position, she began to employ harsh officials extensively, using severe punishments to suppress dissenting voices. Various tortures were used for interrogations, with almost no one surviving. Each time court officials attended court, it felt as if they were entering an execution ground, with everyone fearing they might never return. All the court officials were on edge, and no one dared to speak openly. It is worth mentioning that Wu Zetian's first male favorite was Xue Huai. To facilitate his freedom of movement in the court, he was disguised as a monk. During his favored period, Xue Huai even humiliated the current prime minister, while Wu Zetian's indulgence made the court officials angry but afraid to speak out, treating Xue Huai with respect from a distance, fearing they might provoke disaster. Subsequently, Wu Zetian had more male favorites, who, relying on the empress's favor, behaved recklessly, disrupted court order, and acted tyrannically. The situation gradually worsened, with some even showing tendencies to seize control of state affairs. At this critical moment, the upright minister Renjie stepped forward and, facing the aging empress, advised her not to indulge in wine and lust, nor to cultivate male favorites, lest she lose the trust of the people due to these individuals. Wu Zetian, however, revealed only two things to Renjie. She quietly removed her hairpin, and her long black hair, which had been held up, cascaded down like a black waterfall, dark as lacquer and shiny as silk. Then, she displayed her more than 70 neatly arranged teeth, making Renjie instantly understand her intention. How do you view my current physical condition? Faced with the flowing black hair and the orderly teeth, even the clever Renjie was rendered speechless. With her healthy body and wise response, Wu Zetian seemed to convey a message to Renjie: though I am advanced in age, my mind remains sharp. She then openly shared with Renjie her reasons for allowing her male favorites to act wantonly in the court, shocking him deeply. It turned out that Wu Zetian's indulgence of her favorites was part of a larger scheme. After she ascended the throne, the Li clan despised her for seizing power. And even among the officials, including her own son, there was fear of her. Once the Wu clan received her protection, they grew powerful but began to exploit the common people, angering the court officials. However, she was acutely aware that once she passed away, the Wu clan would become a target of public resentment and would face widespread condemnation and reckoning. Thus, she deliberately allowed the Zhang brothers, her favorites, to wreak havoc, hoping they would attract the enmity of the Li clan after her death, leading the officials to despise the Zhang brothers even more and treat the Wu clan leniently, allowing her descendants to escape unscathed. Therefore, her indulgence of the Zhang brothers was actually a strategy for managing her legacy. After listening to Wu Zetian's explanation, Renjie said nothing, silently taking his leave. As it turned out, Wu Zetian was right. The Zhang brothers were seen as a counterbalance of power between the Li and Wu clans. After her death, the first targets of the public's wrath were indeed the Zhang brothers. Historical records depict the scene at that moment. The crown prince personally arrived at Xuanwu Gate, broke in, and executed Zhang Yizhi in Zhangchangzong beneath the corridor. Some historians comment that Wu Zetian, this woman with a tumultuous fate, experienced an astonishing rise from Wu the talented to empress, well versed in the art of kingship and power dynamics. She demonstrated exceptional foresight, promoting open dialogue and capable governance, focusing on talent development and establishing the imperial examination system, including the palace and military examinations. Her rule laid a solid foundation for the flourishing reign of Emperor Xuanzong, earning her the rightful title of an outstanding politician. In a feudal society, Wu Zetian transformed from being dominated by men to taking control of her own fate and even influencing the destinies of others. From being a concubine vying for favor in the imperial harem to seizing control of state affairs and successfully becoming a ruler in a male-dominated society, she achieved a remarkable turnaround. Moreover, the story between Zetian and Renjie is a historical legend filled with intrigue and wisdom. Renjie's advice did not change Zetian's decisions but revealed the deep emotions and complex political games between them. Zetian's reign was a manifestation of female power and a microcosm of the game of power, prompting deep reflection. In her, we see the cycles of history and the impermanence of power, as well as the resilience and courage of women striving in the currents of history. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.